Five Points is a shopping, restaurant, and nightlife area in Columbia, South Carolina. It attracts customers from the nearby University of South Carolina and throughout the Columbia metropolitan area. It was Columbia's first neighborhood shopping district, named for the intersection of Hardin Street, Devine Street, and Santee Avenue.
Five Points has been known in recent years for its crime rate and violent fights at night.
Rape, burglary, and larceny have increased, while robbery, aggravated assault, and motor vehicle theft has decreased.
Our question is, who has the power to change the crime rate?
I don't think it's going to be up to us. I think it's going to be up to the patrons. Our major crimes are, unfortunately, lost cell phones and vehicles that are broken into. So if you do yourself a favor before you even come out there, if you remove all the articles of value from your vehicle and leave your vehicle locked, that'll cut down on 75% of the crime. Because a lot of times these guys are just going around pulling on door handles. But a lot of times people leave their vehicles unlocked. When they leave their vehicles unlocked, they're going into them. Or if they're pulling on door handles and then they look into a vehicle and they see like a laptop or something, because for some reason people come down to 5 Points and leave guns and computers and all types of stuff in their car in plain view, and next thing you know, they're busting out the window to get into that. If there's nothing in the vehicle in sight, they don't go into the vehicle. Or if the vehicle's locked, they just don't go into it. So I think a lot of the petty crime, which that's a majority of what happens at 5 Points, contrary to popular belief, there's not armed robberies every weekend. It's stolen wallets, stolen cell phones, stolen vehicles, and auto break-ins. There's really not a lot of armed robberies, and a majority of the time you see armed robbery in the news, it's not even armed robbery. It's just somebody had somebody come up to them and say, "Hey man, let me get what you got," and then they falsely reported that they got robbed with a gun.
Where would they be started?
Fights every night.
Why would they be started?
The clubs dump at 2 o'clock, and you have anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 intoxicated, highly intoxicated people stumbling around the streets. So people get upset because bouncers kick them out. You get upset because they're turned away at bars. Or you just bump into somebody on the street and both of them are intoxicated, and it starts an argument that cooler heads would have prevailed if they were sober, but you got 15 intoxicated people arguing back and forth. The next thing you know, you got a brawl in the middle of 800 Hard Street.
How is media influencing our perception of crime?
How's what?
How's media influencing our perception of crime?
Well, I mean, take it back when the young lady got shot. They made it sound like 5 Points. It was horrible. And that was, believe it or not, that was an incident that stemmed from the fair. Those two group of gang members were arguing and fighting at the fair, and Richland County dumped them out into the street and didn't arrest anybody. So of course what happened? They just rolled all that into 5 Points. And it came down there and all heck broke loose. And next thing you know, the media was reporting 5 Points is dangerous. That was an isolated incident. And unfortunately that girl got shot and she got paralyzed. But that was like the first shooting we had in a while. Wow. And next thing you know, it was like 5 Points was unsafe. But what you didn't hear about was in the Vista, that same weekend, somebody shot 52 rounds. And we had to, at the same club where the people got shot at, it was a different name back then. I think it was the Big Ugly or Ugly 13 or whatever it was. Somebody shot 52 rounds, but that didn't make it to the media because it was the Vista. They don't want to touch the Vista because the Vista is where all the adults go. But 5 Points is not as dangerous as the media makes it out to be.
How many arrests happen, like on average, how many arrests happen a night?
When I first started working 5 Points, and I was down there every weekend, it's changed, and it all depends on the supervisor. If you have a supervisor that's really highly motivated, okay, I need you to go out there and crack down on these things. When I was working 5 Points on the weekends, we would have 2 paddy wagons sitting at the Exxon, and we would load them up and send them down to Alamos Glen. Now, when I go work, I mean, maybe 1 or 2. I mean, unfortunately, you gotta, because you try to tell somebody, hey man, you need to go home, or hey, I need to get out of here. And there's always one person in the group that, he's a pre-law at USC and knows his rights. So It was the library. Then it was Poorhouse. They shut Poorhouse down. Poorhouse was, they were notorious, their bouncers were notorious for beating people up. So instead of just kicking them out, they would like throw them out and then start pounding on them outside the club, which is why the guy got arrested, the owner. But they were notorious for that. You know, we would lock their bouncers up all the time.
On May 5th of 2017, the Poorhouse, which was a bar in Five Points, was labeled as a nuisance bar from the countless fights that occurred. The owner agreed to give up its business license later that month. Columbia Police announced the agreement Friday, saying the owner, Daniel Wells, has voluntarily relinquished his license as of May 22nd. The bar closed because of its reckless environment, and there had been many fights and other problems like underage drinking and serving alcohol later than the city's permitted time. Daniel Wells was charged by Columbia Police with assault. Wells was accused of putting a chokehold on a University of South Carolina student, then throwing him on the pavement outside the bar. Ryan Chisholm, a 22-year-old student, lost consciousness and suffered a broken jaw from the impact. Chisholm also broke a tooth and several were jammed into his gums. Police said the bystander's video shows a large man applying a chokehold from behind the student and then slinging his body onto the street. Chisholm has sued Wells and the bar.
And those bouncers cause a lot of problems because unfortunately the bouncers get down there and they're supposed to be kicking people out. But as you know, they're down there drinking just like everybody else. An intoxicated bouncer trying to kick somebody out.
Actually, when I got out of college many, many years ago, in the late 80s, early 90s, I was a bouncer in Five Points. Nighttime, I think I mentioned earlier that I used to be a bouncer down there. I would not be a bouncer down there now. It seems like, from what I've heard, the place is pretty much out of control at nighttime. Kids are running out with guns and things like that. And I don't want to get shot at. That's why I wouldn't be a bouncer down there. But I don't even drive through Five Points at nighttime.
So, like, in the next 5 years, like, do you think, like, the rate of crime will increase or, like, decrease, or kind of stay the same?
I think it's going to decrease. It's steadily going to decrease. Our crime's been going down. I think our shootings went up, but our people who actually got shot went down. Because I mean, anytime somebody calls 911 or reports shots fired and we find shell casings, we do an incident report. So I mean, our shootings have gone up. Our smaller crimes have gone down. We're really pushing this. The city's got this thing called the 9 p.m. routine. And basically every night on social media, they're reminding people to empty out their vehicles and lock their doors and stuff like that. So that's started helping out with our property crimes. We're not taking as many auto-breaking reports. You'd be surprised at what just locking your car doors do.
Do you, okay, so, at nighttime there's a lot of like men and women and they get drunk or whatever, or just women walking around. Do you ever get any reports like of being sexually assaulted or?
Yes, it does happen, but a lot of times those sexual reports aren't reported till the next day. So there's been many times I've been working my regular region, which is like the Harbison area, and I'll get called up to Palmetto Park Ridge for a sexual assault that occurred in 5 Points the night before. Because they'll wake up the next morning and be like, oh my God, what happened? This isn't right, and then they go to the hospital. But it happens. It doesn't happen often, but it happens. I honestly feel like it could be preventative. You go out, just can't leave one of your group members. I mean, it amazes me. I'm telling you, it's every night somebody, I don't understand it.
Who do you think can make a change in the community of 5 Points?
I think the people, they the ones that makes the noise or be loud or whatever. They don't have to be like that. I mean, you know, they can prevent from, you know, I think, that's what I think.
Do you think the bars being open so late have anything to do with the interactions that go around 5 Points?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes they don't close till way over in the morning. Even though I don't go to
Yes,
I don't drink.
Good afternoon, Dr. Clamp.
Good afternoon.
Have you ever been to 5 Points?
Yes, I have. And the times I've been there, my wife and I and friends have had places we've gone to eat, lots of restaurants down in the 5 Points area. All those experiences have been pleasant.
What are some rumors or things you have heard about 5 Points?
So the 5 Points area is just adjacent to the University of South Carolina. And having lived in the Columbia-Lexington area now for over 10 years, you hear about college students going down there and having fun, going to different bars and things. You've also heard, and I've also heard about different violent things that have happened down in 5 Points, whether it was gun violence or physical violence. I have heard several of those activities happening either via the news media or the internet. And
who do you think has the power to stop the violence in 5 Points?
I think violence is a responsibility of us all. And stopping violence or deterring violence is both the responsibility of the people in the area as well as law enforcement to help maintain a safe and civil environment. Law enforcement can come in and certainly discipline or hold accountable people who violated laws, but I think ultimately the responsibility comes in the people who go to the area and the decisions that they're making. And if those decisions are positive decisions, then it could rid or deter any violence from ever coming back to the 5 Points area.
Thank you for your time.
On September 16, 2017, a University of Kentucky football fan was shot in the face around 2 a.m. during what most people may call the nightlife time. Is when most people are at bars celebrating, intoxicated, and getting into brawls. This particular night, Dennis Macy, her fiancé, Jimmy Brannon, and 2 other people were socializing near Park Street business in a Vista neighborhood. As in the video, all 4 of them were looking out onto Gervais Street just as the gunshots started going off. Everyone took cover, but when Macy started to take cover, she'd been shot right in her cheek. She fell onto the ground as if no life was left in her. Multiple bystanders started to call for help as soon as they noticed she was shot. After 11 days in the hospital, Macy was released. Macy was not a target in the shooting, neither were the others who were injured. The people have the power to change the crime in 5 Points. By locking the door of your cars and staying in the good areas of town, you can decrease the crime rate dramatically.